So what the heck is bias tape and how do you make some of this stuff?
Bias tape is just a strip of fabric that has been cut on the bias. So you see here is my straight of grain line, and the way that this strip has been cut, that straight of grain line is running 45 degrees. Now, bias tape needs to be cut on a bias so that it can stretch around any curves that you're sewing it onto without causing any wrinkles or puckers. You can make bias tape in pretty much any width that you'd like, it just has to be cut on a bias. You can also purchase pre-made bias tape, and it comes in either a regular width or extra wide, and it comes in either double fold or single fold. Single fold means that the edges of the strip of fabric have been ironed into the middle, and double fold bias tape means that they've ironed it in half one more time. And you can see this double fold extra wide is much wider than this double fold in just the regular width.
Now there's more than one way to make bias tape, but in this video we will be going over the simplest one. I have before me a piece of fabric, and this edge right here is one of the selvage edges, so I know that this edge is perfectly along the straight of grain. I'm going to then take my ruler, my quilting ruler, and there's a 45-degree line here on my ruler, and I'm just going to line up that 45-degree line with my selvage line, which is along the straight of grain, and from there I can just make my initial cut. Like that. From here, you just have to decide how wide your bias tape is going to be. 2.5 inches is a very common width, so I'm going to line the 2.5-inch line up on my ruler with this edge that I've just cut, like that, and then I'm going to make another cut. Like so. And you can just keep doing that. Now, in order to turn these two strips into one long continuous strip of bias tape, I'm going to have to start sewing them together at the ends. And what I need to do is I need to make sure that they are right sides together. Sometimes this might mean rotating it so that now you see these two edges line up beautifully. Now, I need to place these edges right sides together and match my raw edges, but you see this right here. So I've drawn on the line that I'm going to be sewing along, my stitching line, and that stitching line has to meet up at the edge of the fabric, not the edge of my cut line. This has to meet up with the edge of the piece of fabric underneath. And now I just come on over to my machine and I'm going to sew right along that stitching line that I drew, which is, in this situation, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I just need to give this a good press, but you see when I unfold this, it becomes one long straight line. And from there, I'm just going to go to the iron and press my seam allowances open. And you can repeat this for as many strips as you want to sew on. Just always make sure you put the fabric right sides together.